What's going on, everyone? So, welcome to my latest live stream. Lately, I know it's been Marv, Sergey, and myself, but unfortunately, both Sergey and Marv are unavailable today. So, it is just me. Sergey is currently sick, and Marv's Marv. No, I'm kidding. He's getting ready for the Super Bowl. His team, the Eagles, are playing tomorrow. So, as you can imagine, he is extremely excited. So, for myself, I figured I would do a live stream myself tonight, and I'm doing it early too. So it shouldn't be too long. I figure, 80, 90 minutes possibly. So should be good though. But Andrew Lay is first. Andrew, it's good to hear from you, man. Have you seen any, films recently? I know your schedule's been kind of hectic. So let me know what you've been watching lately. He also says, for once, hey, usually Ace Bullets, who says, he's the first. Bootzilla says, hey, Andrew and Ace. Bootzilla, welcome. It's always good to hear from you, man. What have you been watching recently? And I know you're an Eagles fan. From what I remember, I think you are. Either way, are you excited for the Super Bowl? Andrew Lay, Marv, LOL, the shade. Hey, I love Marv. I've been friends with him for years, so I always give him shade. He knows it. If he was right here, I would say the same thing, but he's great. He's probably going to have a heart attack tomorrow, though, depending on how the outcome of the game goes, but we'll see. I honestly don't even know which team I want to win at this point. It's like one of those games where the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, really? But Ace Plus says, how's Invincible, Chad? So, funny story. I haven't watched season 3 yet. I might start it tomorrow. I was originally supposed to watch it Thursday morning, but for some reason, the internet on my TV, actually, no, not even the internet. Prime specifically wasn't working on my TV, but it was working on my phone, and I just didn't feel like watching on my phone. So I said to myself that I would watch it sometime soon. So that might be tomorrow. But season 2 was kind of Season 1 was much better, but I've heard season 3 is pretty good from what I understand. Beamer Bro 1 is in the house, says Chiefs Nation rise up. Hey, all I want is the Chiefs to have a really good passing game. I want them to throw a lot. That's all I want. And I want to see a really good game. That's what I want. At the end of the day, I want to see a good game, and I want to see my bets go through, and I want to make money. That's my goal. Godzilla watched Jackie Brown again last night, and I saw that you only gave it a 3 on Letterboxd. What is it that you didn't like about it? I'm not going to lie. I don't really remember. It's been a decade. I know you saw my 3, but it was early 2015, so it's legit been a decade. I just remember it being very Pulp Fiction-esque, just not as good from what I recall, but I do need to rewatch it. The problem is my wife loves Tarantino's films, but that film she's not a big fan of, so I haven't watched it with her, and I don't know, I haven't been in the mood to watch it myself, so but maybe I'll try to watch it soon. Ace Bullets, I can't wait to start season 2 of The Leftovers. Dude, season 2 of The Leftovers is so good. The only issue I have with The Leftovers season 2 is the intro. I absolutely hate the intro for season 2. It is such a downgrade to the season 1 theme song. But The Leftovers is such a good show to watch, especially now with everything that's going on in the world. So, good choice. Tom Bainey is in the house, says, go Birds. Tom, I'm very curious how the game's going to go tomorrow. Can't Articulate says, what is up? Can't Articulate, always good to hear from you, man. I will be curious to see what you'll be watching tonight. And also, I am glad that you've started to Method View lately. That is something that I'm glad that you got into. Andrew Lay says, A Clockwork Orange for me yesterday, together with Barry Lyndon. They make me respect but not enjoy 1970s Kubrick. 2 of some of my favorite films. I absolutely love A Clockwork Orange, top 25 for me. Barry Lyndon, I think it's top 50, or it might be just outside my top 50, but it's incredible. Each shot is like a painting. It's gorgeous. A little over 3 hours. You can feel it at times, but it's never one of those films where when I think about it, I'm like, it's a terrible film because of the pacing. It's always one of those films that I think about highly and masterpiece style because of just how well put together it is. Bootzilla, Jackie Brown seems to get better for me the more I watch it. Okay, so that makes me want to rewatch it then. Actually, let me look to see if it's on any streaming because maybe I'll try to watch it soon. Because I know this time last year I rewatched Kill Bill Volume One, and I ended up really liking it. So I'm looking Jackie Brown. It looks like it's on Plex, but Plex is usually with ads. So I might check my local library to see if they have like the Blu-ray because I don't really feel like picking up the Blu-ray or the 4K, and then if I don't like it, then I'll have to sell it. So I, you know, not that I don't trust you. It's just one of those things where, you know, I just don't remember liking it that much. Ace Plets, it feels like Sons of Anarchy. It does. No, it really does. Now that you mentioned it, yeah, it does. And even the first time I saw the Leftovers, I was like, this does not sound that good at all. Like I think it works against the Leftovers. Angela, only Jackie Brown and Death Proof left for me on Quentin Tarantino. Death Proof, I'm not a fan of, but I respect quite a bit that he was able to really pull off the 1970s gritty aesthetic that he was going for. It worked quite well. Everything else, eh. But if you like exploitation films, you might like it more. You might appreciate it more, I should say. We'll see, though. Uzel, and answer your question about the Super Bowl. I love football and sports, but I'm not that excited. Not a fan of either team. That's fair. Someone that's from Philly, I believe me, I get it. I honestly would have been curious to see if the Bills had made it because I've seen the Bills a little bit and they seemed like a really, really good team. But that game between them and the Chiefs was really good. I did manage to catch that, and it was really good. The Eagles have always been a team that they've been good, but at the same time, they give people heart attacks because of just how close they play things. And it makes for an engaging game, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's like, oh, here we go again. E-Split says the soundtrack on Leftovers is absolutely incredible. I agree. There's one track. Let me actually look at my phone because I forget off the top of my head what the track's called. But when I die, I want this played at my funeral. I think it's called. I think I'm going to butcher this. Donna Nobis Passum One. That piece of music in the Leftovers is outstanding, and I love that they play it throughout the show. Bootzilla really wanted to see the Bills and Lions in the Super Bowl, so one team's fan base can end their suffering. Yeah, I mean, both teams, from what I recall, both teams really haven't been in the Super Bowl that much. So, yeah, you're not wrong. Angela saw Timmy Dillon too, mid movie and story, but nicely shot and a great jam sesh. Why everyone else in my theater was Biden age though? Probably because they remember when he was playing, man. So I saw an early screening of that, and I thought it was okay. You pretty much hit the nail on the head. It feels like a concert movie, and every year my wife and I we watch all the Academy Award Best Picture nominee films, and that's one of the few that she hasn't seen just yet. So I am gonna have to watch it a second time. Not looking forward to it, but I am hoping that maybe I'll like it more on rewatch. But I don't have high expectations though. Ace Splits Made in America was brilliant, by the way. That's awesome. What are you guys all gonna be watching tonight? I know for me, I've been on. If you guys have been following me on Letterboxd, I've been on a Charlie Kaufman binge, so I'm planning to watch Synecdoche, New York tonight. So let me know in the comment section if you guys have seen Synecdoche, New York, because it's with Philip Seymour Hoffman, and it's really good, like really, really good. If you've seen Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal, that show was heavily inspired by this film, Synecdoche, New York. I actually reviewed Synecdoche, New York on my channel. It's phenomenal. It gets better with each viewing, and it's one of those films where you feel as if at first you're able to follow along pretty easily, but then as it progresses, it gets more and more convoluted because of the passing of time. Intentionally, of course, but it has that dreamlike logic of like a Lynch film, but not as terrifying, of course. Ace Pledge, do you like season 2 or 3 of The Leftovers more? That's honestly a good question. From what I recall, I think season 2 I liked a little bit more, but they're both really good, and they they delve into like art house territory pretty hardcore from what I recall. Really good though. Bootzilla, oh yeah, I watched Nosferatu last weekend. I thought it was okay. Depth and cinematography were very good. First 45 kept me intrigued, and then fell off after that. Oh, that's a shame, man. I I loved Nosferatu. I saw it twice, but at least you liked depth in the cinematography. I agree with you about that. It's a classic story. I don't know if you've seen like the other renditions of Nosferatu or Dracula, but it's a very classic story. It's just all about the directing, and I think the directing in Nosferatu, this rendition, was definitely unique, which is what I really liked. And it also is a really interesting watch because after I rewatched Nosferatu, I decided to rewatch Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola, and it's just funny seeing how much directing goes into a film because when you watch Bram Stoker's Dracula, it's a very colorful film, and it just feels very different compared to this rendition. I can't articulate. I'm probably going to see The Worst Person in the World. I've been meaning to watch this. I remember I missed it in theaters, and I was going to watch it on streaming, but I never got around to it. And I wasn't sure about blind buying the Criterion because I don't know if I'm going to like the movie, but I'll be curious to see your review. Ace Plus, I know you'll be happy, but I'm pretty sure I'll do Hannibal after Leftovers. That's awesome, man. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Hannibal. It's such an underrated show. Andrew Lay, not a Marvel fan, but the Fantastic Four trailer looks cool. Same with Jurassic World Rebirth. I didn't watch the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer, but I did watch the Fantastic Four trailer, and I don't know. For me, it just seems okay. But I'm at the same time going in with an open mind. I'm hoping it's good because Fantastic Four fans really haven't gotten, their due. To be fair, I still haven't seen the 2015 rendition, but this gives me a pretty good excuse to finally watch it. Can't articulate. Seems like you really liked The Brutalist. The score was super great. Oh, I loved The Brutalist. I saw it 3 times, and if one of my friends were to say, "Hey, I haven't seen The Brutalist. I'm going to see it. You want to see it with me?" I would see it with them a 4th time in theaters. I loved that film. It gets better each time too. I mean, that's why I finally gave it a 5 out of 5 because I'm just like, at this point, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's a film that I think gets better with each viewing. And I don't know, just more emotionally satisfying too. Angela, with Mission Impossible and a bunch of others, this summer is going to be lit. I'm definitely excited for the new Mission Impossible, the final one. I think that one's going to be really good. And I'm very curious to see how they're going to pull it off because something tells me that it's going to be handing the torch off to someone else. I'm hoping that they don't do that, but I have a feeling that they will. And if they don't, though, it would be really nice. Angela, well, winter in New Zealand, LOL. Oh gosh, yeah. How has winter been? I'm sure it's been terrible for you because, like, for me in PA, it's been bad. Like, it's been a couple years since it's been this bad. Like, and the weather's been very, very unpredictable, really cold. But at the same time, it's also been nice because then I've been trying to method view. When it's cold out, I'll then try to watch films that take place in the snow. So I rewatched like Fargo, A Simple Plan. Need to rewatch The Revenant now too. Godzilla, I like both trailers also. Rebirth looks like it could be different and a little bit darker than the Jurassic World movies. That's good to hear. See, my whole thing is after watching that Jurassic World trilogy, I feel burnt out. You know what I'm saying? I like dinosaurs just as much as the next person, but just seeing what they did with that trilogy, I'm just like, I don't know if I can trust you guys at this point, man. East Plus, what do you plan on doing after Invincible? Excellent question. So I was gonna watch something that my Patreon decided on, but the problem is my Patreon right now it's 50-50, meaning that the 2 shows that were chosen, it's 50-50. So I just need to wait pretty much until there's someone else that joins Patreon and then votes for one of those 2 shows or, a couple people. And then whatever show wins in that's when I'll then, give my Patreons a shout out after I, finished watching that show and then review it. So, because that Patreon is for the next big show. So right now, I think Actually, I can pull it up right now. 1 second. I'll pull it up for you guys so you guys can see it. 1 second. Let me find it. Bear with me. All right, here we go. All right. So right now it looks like the two TV shows that are neck and neck are Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Shield. So because it's 50-50, there's no way for me to choose which one, because at the end of the day, I want my subscribers to be the ones to choose. So that is for me to plug in now, join my Patreon, so you can decide which of these two shows I'll watch. Or who knows, if I get a bunch of people that join, maybe it might be the Americans or Homeland. But these are the big shows. These are the shows that my goal is to start and then hopefully finish by summertime, and then I'll have a summer show that I'll have Patreons choose from, just so that way you guys have some control. Plus, it's fun to do. All right, let's see. Can't articulate. Winter's been good here in California. Oh, you're lucky. I'm jealous, man. Actually, let me take that back. Not so much because of all the fires and everything, which hopefully everything's been okay in regards to that on your end. Hopefully you weren't affected. Angela, no, I meant summer up there is winter down here, so blockbusters hit different. It's midsummer here right now. Oh, gotcha. Oh yeah, that's got to be weird then, watching like Jurassic Rebirth, whatever it's called, in like wintertime. I see what you're saying now. Midsummer. Can't articulate. Just finished Fargo season 4. Underwhelming, but the last episodes were decent enough. I think season 5 is a little bit better, and I do like the buildup of season 5 to the finale. But yeah, the first 3 seasons of Fargo were definitely like the best. But season 4 was solidish, and season 5 was good though. East Palette's worst case scenario, do a coin flip. Yeah. But then the problem is, then in my video where I'm like, oh yeah, my Patreon's decided, and it's like, well, they didn't actually, because it was 50-50. Ace Splits, all 4 of those I heard are brilliant. I could speak on Avatar. It's fantastic. I've heard it's great. I mean, I've heard about it throughout pretty much my entire life, how great it is. And it's one of those things where I know it's sacrilegious to say, but I've seen the movie that M. Night Shyamalan directed, but I haven't seen the show. So, yeah, I know. It's not good. Can articulate, ooh, great shows. I still need to see Homeland and The Shield. Yeah, I've heard both are great, especially Homeland. I heard Homeland kind of falls off towards the end, but that the first 4 seasons are fantastic from what I understand. Godzilla Fargo season 4 was the worst of the series. Season 5 redeems it. I agree. Season 4 was definitely the weakest. And it's one of those things where I wanted to like it, but I think around the halfway point of that show, I just realized that I wasn't liking it as much as the other 3 seasons. I'm like, I want to love it, but it was a downgrade. And also, there wasn't really that many tie-ins to the other seasons and the movie. And that's something I liked about the first 3 seasons, is that they were able to hold on their own. Like, each season works individually, but I liked how they were still able to tie into, the movie or the other seasons. So, but I've been itching to rewatch Fargo. Godzilla, The Shield is one of my favorite shows, although it could be a season or 2 shorter. Yeah, I saw that the episodes per season are quite long, so we'll see. Hey, Splits, how's The Sopranos rewatching going? It's going decent. My little brother's rewatching it currently. Shout out to him. And he started a couple weeks ago, and he's already on season 3. Meanwhile, I started it, I think, a month ago, and I'm only on season 1, episode 7. But to be fair, I'm watching with my wife, so our schedules sometimes don't really align. So yeah, season 1, episode 7 is what I'm on, and I think it's solid. It's one of those things where I can see how much it influenced shows that I love, but I'm not really 100% engaged. but I like the cinematography. I love the performances are fantastic. James Gandolfini was great. I might do a what's it called, a re-review of that, because I saw it 7 years ago, and I think at that point I didn't even really rate seasons. Now I do, so I might do a re-review. Film Kid is in the chat. What's going on, Film Kid? He says, Chad, you are my favorite YouTuber. I appreciate you saying that, man. By the way, I saw you watched Mortality and reviewed on Letterboxd. I'm glad that you liked it. Very proud of that. So I'm glad that you watched that. And I can't articulate, shout out to him. He watched Wilpin Drive, which I'm also very proud of. Film Kit also today, I went to go see the extended cut of Return of the King. So now I've seen all 3 extended cuts in theaters. What did you think? Did you like it? I've only seen personally the extended cuts of Lord of the Rings once a piece when I was like 14. And I remember thinking that they were good, but I always go to the theatrical cuts. But I was speaking to my wife because we both love Lord of the Rings. But here's the thing. We always go to the theatrical cuts, but we've been deciding recently that maybe we'll watch the extended cuts on next watch. So stay tuned for that on Letterboxd. Angela, I wish I could go full Transylvania winter to method watch Nosferatu in theaters, but I wore shorts and sunglasses instead. Yeah, man, dude. When I watched Nosferatu the first time, it was raining, and I was just like, you know what? I hate snow. I really do in regards to driving. But part of me wishes that it did snow that day instead of raining, because it would have been method viewing, being freezing cold going into the theater and then watching that film. But yeah, Nosferatu is going to be added to those obligatory films to watch during the wintertime for sure. Film Kid, and tomorrow I'm going to go see Parasite IMAX. Dude, let me know how you like it. And also, is it your first time watching it? Because if so, hopefully you know nothing going into it, because it's quite a ride, man. East Blitz, I would also say Chad is my favorite YouTuber. One of the only people I watch on the app. Oh, dude, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I'm glad that you came across, my channel through 6 Feet Under review, which I'm very proud of. So I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I still remember when that show, when I finished, I was like, I need to review it. And at the same time, I'm hoping that people come across this review, because nobody seems to be watching this show now, which is kind of crazy, because 20 years ago when it came out, it was a big show, but now it doesn't really seem like anyone talks about it. But great show. Great show. I also watched Cure from 1997. It's my top 15 favorite films. Dude, Cure is a great film. I love that. I own that on Criterion. Such a good film. It is very atmospheric. Not for everyone, mind you, but it is such a good film. Highly recommend it to everyone. Beamer Row 1, aka my little brother, says, actually, I'm halfway through season 5 now. Holy cow. Yeah, I'm very slow in regards to TV show watching, which is why you see on Letterboxd that I'll watch a bunch of movies, but then TV show wise, it takes me like several months to get through something. Film Kid, I had seen the extended cut of The Return of the King before, and so I still love it. And the other two, it was the first time for the extended cut, but I also loved the extended cut to those two. Oh, nice. Yeah, from what I recall, I think The Return of the King, I think that was my favorite extended cut. And I think that The Two Towers was the extended cut that I liked the least, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong, though. Again, it was, at this point, 14, 15 years ago, which is insane to think about that it's been that long. Film Kid, it literally snowed where I am like a week after I saw Nosferatu. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm honestly really happy that Nosferatu did well with audiences. I remember talking to Marv about Nosferatu before it came out, and we were discussing about how it was going to do box office wise, and we both kind of came to the assumption that it probably was going to find like a niche audience. So seeing that it made, I think it was like 95 million domestically, was a welcome surprise. So I'm hoping that this is going to be something that other studios do, where they will drop a horror film around Christmas time, because it's nice counter marketing. A lot of times people will drop something like a biopic or a comedy or a family film around Christmas time. So I think horror around a Christmas time is kind of an event. for all the Scrooges out there. Film Kit, I have seen Parasite once before, but the IMAX is probably going to enhance the experience. Oh, for sure. The problem is, I want to see an IMAX, but near me, it's only playing, I think, at like 10 p.m. at night. And I'm an old man, so I can't do it. I just can't. Plus, I own it on 4K, so I'm like, if I really, really want to watch it, I'll just put it in the 4K. I'm always the more Lord of the Rings, the better. Like Boromir's speech, for example, so good. I used to be like you, Chad, with the extended cuts, but now I love them. Well, I'll watch the extended cuts again. I own them on 4K, so I know my wife and we've discussed about possibly rewatching. I can't believe I'm saying this, the Hobbit trilogy, and then rewatching the Lord of the Rings, because we both saw before we even met. We watched the Hobbit films like in theaters, and the Hobbit trilogy. I think I saw the first one twice in theaters. Liked it the first time, did not like it at all the second time, and then the second Hobbit I thought was better, but I only saw it that one time, I believe. And then the final Hobbit film I saw not even in theaters. I saw it on the Seven Seas. And I didn't like it. It was a whimper of a way to end the trilogy. So, but at the same time, that was over a decade ago. So who knows? Maybe I'll like it now. But I'm not holding my breath. I'm not holding my breath. Ace Paulette says 6 Feet Under video was amazing. Oh, dude, I'm glad you're saying that. I am proud of that video because it was right after I watched the show, like legit when the finale ended. I then went to my studio space and just filmed my review because I'm just like, yeah, this is a lot to process. Film Kid Chat, I know I mentioned this to you before, but I found you through your Michael Mann ranking. Oh, awesome. Yeah, that Michael Mann ranking, I still remember when I filmed that because I'm like, this is going to be a hot take with what my number one is because everyone's number one is pretty much the same. But just when I filmed that, I was like, no, this is actually my number one, not that. But, yeah. So I'm glad that that's what you found me through because I do love doing director ranking videos. And in fact, I just dropped, again, because I have all these like scheduled, I didn't even remember this, but Jonathan Glazer director ranking video I dropped earlier today. So if you haven't done so, be sure to check that out. He's the same director that did like The Zone of Interest, Under the Skin, films like that. Memer Bro wants says the theatrical cut Lord of the Ring cuts are a little bit better than the extended cuts, but I still think the extended cuts are great. Oh, I haven't heard that take before. I always hear people praise the extended cuts, and then there's me, and I'm just like, the actual cuts. Film Kid, I also got my dad to watch Prisoners. What did he think of it? Did he like it? That's such a great film, man. Ace Paulette says Prisoners is amazing. I agree. That film takes place in PA, and it's funny because when I watch that, there are certain scenes where, even though I know it was filmed, I believe, in Canada, there are certain scenes where they do such a great job of recreating PA. Like, a really good job. It's like The Brutalist, where even though The Brutalist wasn't shot in Doylestown, PA, they still did a really good job recreating it. Such is the power of filmmaking. Film Kid, Fellowship is my favorite extended cut in Two Towers. I like the extended cut better than the actual cut. Oh, wow. Yeah, Lord of the Rings, just in general, it's a great trilogy. I don't trust anyone that doesn't like Lord of the Rings. Can't articulate. I'm currently watching a lot right now. Invincible, Severance, Paradise, Dexter, Original Sin, and Fargo. Yeah, that is a lot. Severance, I've heard, is great. Still need to watch it. Paradise, I have not seen. You and I were on the same page about Dexter Original Sin. Honestly, Dexter Original Sin, it's kind of bothering me at this point because it's a prequel show. So therefore, it should be a show that anyone can watch and be introduced to the show. But if you watch Dexter Original Sin, it spoils a lot of what's to come. And I think that that's the sign of a prequel that, I don't know, just can't really stand on its own. And that's what Dexter Original Sin feels like for me. So far. Maybe that will change. Funky says, did you see my Robert Eggers ranking? Took me a couple weeks to edit. I did not. I'll look for it though. I am planning to rank Robert Eggers' films. The problem is he's been making a lot of films recently, so because of just how far ahead I am with my director rankings, if I were to rank his films now, by the time it comes out, it would be almost 2 years from now. And at that point, he might have a film come out. And then at that point, it's like, oh, well, I didn't have that film that he just had come out. So it's all about timing. Ace Splits, love Dexter despite its flaws. Season 4 is one of my favorite seasons. Yeah, season 4 is a gut punch. It's so good. I've been meaning to rewatch it, especially since Original Sin just has been very, very okay. So I need a reminder of why I like Dexter to begin with. Andrew, I still have to wait another 2 weeks to finish all 10 Best Picture nominees this year with I'm Still Here. So hyped. I like historical dramas. Hope it won't be as painful as Amelia Perez and Wicked. So today I actually just watched I'm Still Here, and I filmed my review and edited it. Should be up actually in like 4 or 5 hours. In short, I liked it. It's a really, really good film. Quietly powerful. It's meditative. Feels very realistic. I didn't know it was a historical drama, honestly, going into it. But as soon as the film began, I started to think that it might be. And by the end, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. When the credits were rolling, I was like, that makes sense as to why it's, a historical drama, because it just felt so raw, man. So I think you'll like it. I liked Amelia Perez. I know you weren't a fan of it. Wicked, I did watch a second time, and yikes, that did not hold up. Actually, not that it was good to begin with. It was one of those films I felt mixed about. But on rewatch, I really didn't like Wicked, which I know is a hot take, but yeah, not good. Film Kid Chat, check the AMC app because it might be playing for like 12:45 tomorrow for you. I'll check right now. The only problem is I definitely wouldn't be able to do 12:45 tomorrow because that's Super Bowl Sunday, and honestly, my Super Bowl Sunday is pretty busy. But let me double check just for the heck of it. 1 second. I do want to see Dogman too. I don't know if anyone else wants to see it, but I do want to watch Dogman. Let's see. So tomorrow, I'm actually not even seeing Parasite for tomorrow playing. Let me double check. Go up. Yeah, no, Parasite's not even playing near me now. At least for tomorrow. I think it's because there's a concert movie playing tomorrow. Bootzilla, does Demi have the best actress wrapped up after Carla's drama? Ooh, that's a good question. So here's the thing. The Academy, they've broadened their branch. And by that I mean that they have an international branch now. So it's one of those things where it's awesome, not only just because of inclusion, but also because it makes things even more unpredictable. So the reason why I say this is that I wouldn't be surprised if what's her name off the top of my head? I just reviewed this, and Fernanda, 1 second. It's gonna bother me now. Just saw it. So you know I'm getting old. Fernanda Torres. Fernanda Torres from Still Here. If she gets announced as Best Actress, don't be surprised. She's good. It's a different type performance as Demi Moore. I want Demi Moore to win. I'm going to say that for the record. I really hope she wins. Thought she was phenomenal. But if Fernanda Torres wins, I wouldn't be surprised because of the growing international branch. Film Kit, also one of my Christmas presents was that I got A-List, and so I've been using it a lot lately. Dude, honestly, what's also great about A-List is that I think it starts in May, but instead of just 3 slots, you'll be able to have 4 slots per week. And yeah, it goes up a couple dollars, but you'll be able to see another movie. And that's also going to be very beneficial during the summertime, during, the winter time when, there's a lot of Oscar movies. Andrew Lay, Netflix right now. Who's Carla? Yeah, I like Amelia Perez. I've seen it. I know it's going to be wild for some of you guys to believe this, but I've seen Amelia Perez 3 times, and I think that she's a really good actress, but at the same time, hearing all this stuff that's coming out, I'm like, was she actually acting in Amelia Perez, or is or is this one of those things where she's just so like she was actually really really good? I don't know, but either way, great performance. But I couldn't help but say that observation. Film Kid, I also watched Polytechnique yesterday, and I had the same exact thoughts as you. Oh yeah, that's a solid film. Have you seen Incendies? That's also by Denis Villeneuve, and that film I think is phenomenal. Ace Splits, the final montage in 6 Feet Under is one of the best TV moments. I agree, and I think that that's what really solidified it as one of the best TV show finales. Godzilla at Film Kid, still need to see that one. That's the only Denis film I haven't seen yet. Yeah, not many people talk about it, but it's solid. It's rock solid. Can't articulate my first video of yours was either 6 Feet Under or Oz. Yeah, Oz is another show that nobody seems to talk about now, even though it was quite popular when it originally aired. I really like it. I think it's great. I've been meaning to rewatch that Mad Men because at this point it's been 7 years. He splits. The Oz one is really good as well, even though I haven't seen the show. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that one I will say when I made it, there was a couple things I said where there was assumptions where I was like, oh yeah, like realism, in prisons they don't actually like let you out, and then there were people in the comments that were like ex cons that were like, no, they actually do, and I was like, oh, well, I wish I didn't sound so ignorant now, but you live and learn. So now if I were to re-review it, now I know that actually people do depending on the prison. Bootzilla asks at East Splits. I love it. Every time I watch, I start bawling like a little kid. Yeah, it's so good. Film Kid says he said it's hard to say that he liked Prisoner just because how dark it was, but he said he thought it was a good movie. At least he liked it. Well, not liked. At least he appreciated that it was a good film. But yeah, it being dark was something that was one of the things that drew me to it in the first place. Like I still remember watching that trailer many times in theaters back in 2013, and it was what drew me to the movie in the first place. He splits the finale. So emotional at Bootzilla, 100%. Andrew, it's me. Hi, I don't like Lord of the Rings. Oh yeah. I forgot you don't. Said the guy living in New Zealand. Bootzilla, no, Andrew. Dude, it's all good. Ace Bloods, I haven't watched Original Sin. It looks so silly to me. Yeah, not a big fan of it. It's okay. It's one of those films I watch in the morning, and when I watch it, I'm just like, this is okay. But I'm never like, oh my goodness, it's amazing. In fact, when they revealed who the killer is, it's like, oh, of course it's that person. So it's very predictable, unfortunately. I say just stick with the original show. Film Kid, right now, I'm able to watch every single Best Picture nominee besides Nora and The Brutalist, but I'm using my best persuading skills. Yes, please do watch The Brutalist if you can in theaters. That theater experience every time is incredible. Like you get an intermission, and I really do hope that A24 has that intermission that's on, like the Blu-ray and 4K when it comes out in physical media, because it's such a cool idea. And I'm glad that they do it because hopefully other studios will bring back the intermission. Film Kid, my sister and mom are going to go see Dogman while I go see Parasite. Honestly, I want to see Dogman. Like as someone that has a dog, which speaking of which, my dog is trying to get my attention right now. As someone that's a dog owner, I feel obligated to watch Dogman. Plus, the animation seems really interesting. I didn't realize it until someone said it, but apparently it's similar to like Captain Underpants. I haven't seen Captain Underpants, but I don't know, Dogman, a half dog, half human. That idea just, I don't know, conceptually sounds interesting. Can't articulate. I just have. I'm still here to complete my best picture list. Hopefully, it's good. It is good. It's good. I would recommend watching it though on a at least 70 hours of sleep though, because it is. I don't want to say it's slow. It's just very much so methodical in regards to how it's paced. And I do think the second act is its weakest act. Not bad, but it's definitely something where I felt the length in that second act. But we'll be curious to hear how you like it. I am watching Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys is the one that I haven't seen yet, and Nickel Boys is the one that I'm looking forward to. I'm seeing it Tuesday with my wife, so I'm looking forward to it because I've heard that it's like first person point of view, which is something that I don't think I've really seen in a film before. So I'm very curious. Cheryl Peloteka's RN says, "Go Birds." I'm curious how I'm very curious how the game's going to be tomorrow. I haven't placed any bets just yet. Film Kid, Chad, you really need to watch Nickel Boys. I've seen it twice already, and it's head and head with Challengers for my favorite movie last year. Yeah, I'll be watching it Tuesday. The problem is it's only been one showtime per day, and it wasn't until this upcoming weekend, this upcoming week, I should say, where the showtime that it's playing at is something that isn't in the middle of the day. So because it's after work, the showtime, I think it's like a 6:25 when I can actually watch it. So I'm looking forward to it. It's the only one I haven't seen yet. So, and then after that, then I have to rewatch Complete Unknown with my wife because she hasn't seen it yet. And I'm not looking forward to rewatching that. Film Kids, speaking of Challengers, are you going to go see it when it gets re-released for Valentine's Day? No. Actually, I'm probably going to be rewatching Punch Drunk Love that night, which is probably my favorite romance. I do need to pick up Challengers though on physical media, but I'm trying to hold out for when it comes out in 4K. Cheryl Peloteka's RN watched Conclave. Thanks for recommending it. Oh, awesome! Glad that you watched it. Did you like it? I hope you liked it. I saw it twice. Loved it. Can't articulate this Dexter original sin slander. Look, I love the acting. I think the performances are really good. But sorry, that's my dog. Dexter, come here. Speaking of Dexter, he probably heard his name. Be a good boy. That's the thing I love about watching Dexter Original Sin. Every time they announce his name on the show, my dog will like look at the screen. He's like, why are they saying my name? Film Kid, trust me. I'm trying my best to see the Brutalist in theaters. It's just a little hard with some of the stuff that's in it. Yeah, it's definitely a raw film. Is what I'll say. There's some scenes that are very realistic, matter of fact, with how they're depicted, but it's very necessary with the story that's being told. And I think it's one of those films that you really should experience in theaters. Bootzilla says, every time someone brings up Original Sin, I keep thinking of the Johnny Depp Angelina Jolie movie. Original Sin. Oh, no, that's The Tourist, right? I can't think that Nickel Boys was great. I'm glad to hear that a lot of people are liking Nickel Boys. He splits the Breaking Bad rewatch was so good as well. Yes, Breaking Bad is phenomenal. I let my wife decide on if we were going to watch Better Call Saul because she hasn't seen it, or The Sopranos. So she went with The Sopranos. But I think after The Sopranos, we'll probably watch Better Call Saul because she is interested in watching it. And I do want to rewatch that. Film Kid, Nickel Boys made me cry both times. Oh, that makes me happy. Not that I cry, but that it's one of those films that, can garner that type of emotion because I do love those type of films. In fact, Synecdoche, New York, when I rewatch it later on, I'm expecting that to be the feelings that I feel because that's how I felt last time. But to be fair with Synecdoche, New York, it's a different feeling every time. Can't articulate. I liked your Lost in Translation review, by the way. I haven't stopped thinking about the film since I've watched it. Oh, thanks, man. Have you seen the movie Her as well? Because I do think that that's a great companion piece. Like watching Lost in Translation, which is Spike Jonze's perspective of his marriage with Sofia Coppola, and then watching Sofia Coppola's perspective of their relationship. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's very interesting. And I also love how both of them use Scarlett Johansson as a way to, get across their points of how they were feeling in that relationship. Explains chat, I still can't get over our dogs having the same name. Dude, I know. Or you having the same birthday as my wife. It's funny, man. It really is. And also, both our dogs being named Dexter, but also being named specifically after the show Dexter. I do love that. Film kid. The best picture nominees I need to see is I'm Still Here, The Brutalist, Honora, and E. Perez. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on all of them. I mean, Amelia Perez, if you have Netflix, you can definitely watch it. I would recommend watching it alone though. Just with what you've told me with your family and everything, I would recommend watching it alone. Same with Honora, honestly. I'm Still Here. You could probably watch with your family. Or The Brutalist. The Brutalist is phenomenal. The Substance is my favorite film of 2024, and it is nominated for Best Picture, but I don't think it has a chance to win. But The Brutalist is one that I think genuinely has an opportunity to win Best Picture, and I hope it wins. Splits, I love Better Call Saul. Yeah, most people do. I thought it got better as it went along. So I'm hoping that on rewatch I pick up on more details, and I appreciate the early seasons of that show. Can't articulate Better Call Saul, best prequel ever. And you know what's great about it? You don't have to watch Breaking Bad. It stands on its own, and that's how it should be. Butilla, yeah, you're right. It is The Tourist. The Original Sin is with Antonio Banderas and Joe. Okay. That one I haven't seen. Original Sin I haven't seen. Can't articulate. Yeah, I watched her. I wasn't really a fan of it, but still enjoyed. Oh, that stinks. Her, I think, my relationship with it is pretty, I think amazing. Just because when I first saw it, it was from what I remember the first time that I fell asleep and then woke up in the middle of the night and then watched a movie. That film was Her, and the movie Her, similar to Lost in Translation, they take place a lot in the middle of the night. So it was like my first. I didn't even realize it was like my first time method viewing, and I liked it. I thought it was good, but I don't know. It's just one of those films that I gravitate towards, and the more I watch, the more I just find an emotional response to it. In fact, I think the last time I cried like quite a bit because I was just like, "Holy cow!" Like it just. I don't know. I think it does such a good job of depicting depression, anxiety, like loneliness, like things that I gravitate towards in films, and I just think that it does a good job depicting it. Godzilla, same. I didn't care for her at all. Oh, that's a shame, man. I can't articulate. I watched the Noir with my family. I might get the Criterion just because how risky the cover is. Dude, yeah, that cover is it is wild. See, it stinks, man, though, because like I'm glad Honora has a Criterion, but I still can't get over the fact that How to Blow Up a Pipeline still hasn't gotten a Criterion release, even though that's a neon film. There's no certain neon titles where I'm like, really, this hasn't gotten a Criterion, but Honora has. I don't know. Ace Splits. The only thing is, if you watch Better Call Saul first, you're gonna get crazy spoilers. Really? I'm trying to think. I think the only off the top of my head, I think the only spoilers is that when Walter White goes into Los Pollos Hermanos and he doesn't even realize that he came across Gus, that might be something. But I feel like it's like minor things, like really, really minor. It's not like Dexter Original Sin where there's just straight up. My dog Dexter literally just got up. It's not like that where there's some clear things that are spoiling. At least I think. Film Kid, I know this is a little bit controversial, but Fargo is my favorite film from the Coen brothers. I can respect that. I love Fargo. I think it's fantastic. Film Kid, what is your boy's favorite film out of the Best Picture nominees? I would have to ask her. I know Wicked is her least favorite. She hated Wicked. And you know what? I can respect that. I didn't like it. It might be The Substance, although The Substance, the last 20 minutes were a little too wild for her, but she respected how ballsy it was, but she didn't love it. She liked Conclave quite a bit. Might be Conclave. I would have to ask her. Brazil at film, not controversial at all. It's probably my favorite too, and some others. Yeah. I mean, you can't really go wrong with Coen Brothers. Like that ranking of their work, there's no wrong answer with them in particular because they just have such a rich filmography. Like for crying out loud, I mean, True Grit. I know it's not necessarily a film for everyone, Like there's some people that are surprised that I have True Grit so high up, but I mean that's a film that there's no denying how well crafted it is. And it's just because the Coen brothers, they know how to create well crafted films. Bootzilla at Film Kid. These splits. I'll try not to spoil anything, but in the end, they spoil multiple death scenes. I did not remember that because Jimmy talks about some crazy stuff. I'll have to keep that in mind when I rewatch Better Call Saul. If I'm good, I would like to say The Cure is my favorite serial killer movie, but it has to go to Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, I would say that's probably my favorite serial killer film. But Cure is a great one. And I also love how that's a film that inspired so many other different films. You have films like Dark Water that inspired, or The Ring, Ringua. It inspired so many different films. So I'm with you. H-Man, the Boss 05 is in the house. Very good to hear from you. Just rewatched Eraserhead. What a masterpiece. I agree. Also, fantastic Father's Day film. That's method viewing. I do that. What's your favorite Lynch film? So I know it's cliche to say it, but it would have to be Mulholland Drive. But that being said, Inland Empire is going up the ranks, man. Inland Empire is quickly becoming one of my favorites from him. And what's also great is that film it's one of those things where every time I watch it, it's a new experience. And even though I rewatched it a couple months ago, I already want to rewatch it. So, what's your favorite though? Is Eraserhead your favorite? I can't articulate Better Call Saul, maybe my favorite series ever. I love hearing that. Film Kid, also, I'm not sure if you saw this, but my Eraserhead rating went up. Now it's a 4.5. Oh, awesome. Yeah, because didn't you, if I recall correctly, didn't you have it at like a 2.5? I remember that's what Sergey gave. He gave it I think he gave that like a 2 out of 5. He's had some hot takes. Like he gave Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 out of 5. He gave Eraserhead a 2 out of 5, which is why I gave him a warning because he's planning to watch Inland Empire at some point. And I gave him a warning. I'm like, well, if you didn't like Eraserhead, you're definitely not going to like Inland Empire. Because that film is for very few people. Thankfully, I'm one of them. Splits, I'm sure you know what scenes I'm talking about. It's like 2 of the biggest deaths in Breaking Bad. I'm sure you can figure it out just from that. I mean, I know the deaths. I think I know the deaths that you're talking about in Breaking Bad. I forget how Better Call Saul kind of foreshadows them. Actually, maybe I'm remembering it. Actually, I think if what I think you're saying is true, are you talking about the cameos in like the final season of Better Call Saul? Because those I thought were not needed. Like I really wasn't a big fan of the cameos. Let's see. H-Man, the Boss of 5. Eraserhead became my new favorite now. Inland Empire is the only one I haven't seen. I mean, first of all, very happy to hear that about Eraserhead being your new favorite. That's a phenomenal film, man. And again, highly recommend watching on a Father's Day. Perfect method viewing. Inland Empire, I would highly recommend watching it late at night. It's very dreamlike. It feels like a fever dream, and late at night, it especially feels like you're in a nightmare, like a 3-hour nightmare of Lynch's view of Hollywood. If you don't like it the first time, I can 100% understand that, because the first time I saw it, I thought it was solid, but I didn't really come back to it because of the length, because again, it's 3 hours. But I decided to rewatch it years later, and when I rewatch, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a great film. So I'll be looking forward to seeing your Letterboxd review, though, because I think it's definitely worth your time, especially if you like your Eraserhead. Ace Blitz in court. Jimmy talks about a bunch of big events that happened in Breaking Bad. Oh, I don't remember that, to be honest. See, what happened was I watched the first and second season of Better Call Saul when they were airing. I believe it was something like that. But then season 3 or 4, I didn't watch until a couple years later. So the order that I watched that show was kind of a mess. So I apologize about that. Film Kid, what is your top three Studio Ghibli films? Um, I don't know actually. Let me look it up real quick. 1 second. Looking it up right now. Studio. I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think I've seen that many Studio Ghibli movies. Let's see. Castle in the Sky, My Neighbor Totoro, Grave of the Fire. Okay, so Grave of the Fireflies is top three. Princess Mononoke, from what I remember, would be, and then Spirit Away. I know it's cliche to say those, but I would say those are the ones. But again, there are some that I haven't seen. Like I haven't seen the Red Turtle. I haven't seen the Tale of the Princess Kaguya. I think I butchered that badly. I haven't seen Ariadne. There's a bunch that I haven't seen. I have to be in a very specific mood for anime, and specifically, I lean towards the more insane type animes. So, but I do need to watch them. He splits. I think you would like it more if you did it in a faster span of time. I agree, which is why I'm looking forward to rewatching it at some point. He splits. Sopranos took me like 7 months. LMAO. Yeah, it took me a year to watch The Sopranos. It's in my eyes not really a bingeable show. It's one of those shows where you watch slowly. It's not like Breaking Bad where you want to binge watch like 5 episodes at once. In my eyes. H Man the Boss 05. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it, dude. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing how you like it. And I think you said, let me go back. The fact that that's the only one you haven't seen has me wondering, as of right now, what would you say is your least favorite Lynch film? Like if you had to choose, mine, it's easily Dune. I did not like that movie. Film Kid, should I check out Perfect Blue? 100%. 100%. Perfect Blue is phenomenal. And it's one of those films that heavily influenced a lot of American films, specifically Darren Aronofsky's work. Requiem for a Dream, there's certain shots that are taken right from Perfect Blue, and then also Black Swan. Black Swan is heavily influenced by Perfect Blue, and Perfect Blue is great, phenomenal. Ace Splits, and usually I finish something in a month. I just keep putting it off to the side and doing something else. Yeah, I see how much you binge watch. I'm like, it's impressive, man. But it also makes sense because I remember you telling me that you watch mostly TV shows and not really film. So it makes sense because time that could have otherwise been to going towards films you put towards TV shows. So it makes sense. Oh, I forgot to mention to you guys, I'm also watching the TV show Louis with Louis C.K. And I have to say, so far, it's a solid show, but it's one of those things where watching it, because I know in real life how Louis C.K. is, it's one of those things where watching the show, sometimes it feels a little bit too grounded in reality, if you know what I'm saying. But let me know if any of you have watched the TV show Louis, because I'm curious how you guys like it. I just finished season 1, so I'm curious how you guys liked the show. H Man the Boss 05. Speaking of anime, watching Death Note right now, really good. I've heard that's really good. I still remember when the Americanized one came out. Didn't watch it. But if I were to watch Death Note, it'd be the original anime. H Man the Boss 05. Yeah, Dune for me too. Okay, so we're on the same page. Yeah, that movie was really not good. I do not blame Lynch in the slightest, though. It seemed like a film that was a lot of studio interference. Film Kid, what's your thoughts on Land of the Professional being one of the highest rated movies ever? So I really like Leon the Professional. I think it's a very well crafted film. I think it's a really good action film. It being really highly rated, can I see why? Yeah, of course. Uh, do I agree with it being one of the highest rated? No, but I also know how IMDb is aggregated, which is that if you give a film an 8 or a 9 on there, and everyone else is also going to do that, then of course it's going to be high, highly rated. It makes sense, but it doesn't necessarily dictate that these are the greatest. It just means that these are the films that are the most highly rated and the most consistent with what users are giving it. Because I mean, for me, I think Leon the Professional has like an 8.5 or an 8.6 on IMDb, and that's what I give it. Would I give it, is it in my top 50? Is it even in my top 250? No, but it's still really well crafted. Bootzilla, I did a Sopranos rewatch about 3 years ago. The actors who played Bobby and Christopher did a podcast for each episode, and I would watch each episode before the podcast. It was fun watching it that way. I'm sure it was very insightful too, just hearing from them with little tidbits that they might have had when they were filming the show. So I'm glad to hear that. These splits, Chris and Bobby are two of my favorites in the show. Yeah, they are interesting. Film Kid, what are 3 Park Chan-wook recommendations that you think I would be able to watch? That you'd be able to watch with family or by yourself? Because that's going to be a big thing. Park Chan-wook films really aren't family friendly, just as a heads up. But his top 3 for me would go Old Boy, The Handmaiden, and Decision to Leave. And speaking of Park Chan-wook, he's actually having a film come out later on this year, which I'm very excited for. By myself. Okay, so by yourself, then yeah, I would say watch those 3 films. Actually, Decision to Leave came out kind of crazy to think about 3 years ago. Decision to Leave was my favorite film of 2022. I thought it was phenomenal. It's a rework of Vertigo. Different though, different enough to stand on its own, but it's like a reworking of the classic film Vertigo. It's phenomenal though. Ace Blitz has to head out. It's good hearing from you, man. I'll, of course, be hearing from you soon. Bootzilla, yeah, definitely watch by yourself. Yeah, especially The Handmaiden. Like, I love The Handmaiden, but that's definitely a film that you watch by yourself. Although I have played around with the idea of having a movie night for that. So, because I have some friends where we'll watch some like wild stuff. Like I had some friends that we watched The Substance yesterday. We watched Crash, not the racist one, the film about the car fetish one. We all watched it together, and I gave him a heads up. I was like, look, I know I show you guys a lot of wild stuff. This might be the most wild thing, and yeah, we unintentionally method viewed Crash because every single person that watched Crash with me, including myself, got into a car accident within a week after watching that movie. So if you watch Crash, the Cronenberg one, maybe stay off the roads for a little bit. That's all I'm going to say. Bootzilla says, see ya, Ace. Ace, was good hearing from you. Film Kid, the only film of his that really intrigues me plot-wise is Old Boy. Oh, Old Boy is phenomenal. Old Boy is a good starting point for his filmography. And if you like Old Boy, that's when you can kind of work backwards. Old Boy's incredible, though. I mean, I would say his entire Vengeance trilogy, like Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Lady Vengeance, those are great, too. And I like how all 3 are kind of different takes on the theme of vengeance. And is it worth it? Is it not? So, yeah, definitely check out Old Boy. The only problem is his work is very difficult to find from what I recall. Thankfully, I'm a physical media collector, so it's really not that hard to find because I own most of his work that I love. So, H-Man the Boss 05. Chad, have you seen Quaden by Kobayashi? One of the most visually stunning films I've ever seen. No, but I'm not going to lie. I almost blind bought that film a couple times at Barnes & Nobles because it seems really interesting, like really interesting. And I also blind bought Harakiri, and I loved that. It's one of my favorite films of all time, actually, now. But no, to answer your question in short, no. But I do want to watch it. What kind of holds me back every time is that it's, from what I understand, an anthology film, but I do want to check it out. Anthology films are kind of hit or miss for me, but I do want to watch it because I like the director. He also, there's another film. Let me actually pull it up because maybe you've seen it. There's another film that I would blind buy in a heartbeat that the director did, but it's not on physical media from what I understand. It's not the Human Condition trilogy. Here it is. Samurai Rebellion. Samurai Rebellion sounds like an incredible film. Like reading the premise and seeing how much people love it on Letterboxd, it sounds like one of those films that I would love, but I don't think it's on Criterion just yet. Film Kid, what are your top 3 foreign films? For me, Princess Mononoke, Cure, La Haine, and or Parasite. I actually, I would have to go and look, but I think Pan's Labyrinth might be my favorite. Trying to think. Let me actually look that up because there are a solid amount of films that are in my top 100 that are international films. Let me see real quick. One second. Okay, so yeah, Pan's Labyrinth, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Technically, an Italian cinema film. Technically, so I'll say Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Um, and what's after that? Let's see. I mean, Transpotting is a British film, so technically, no, I'm kidding. I'll put that to the side. The Raid 2 might be my number three. Yeah, The Raid 2 is fantastic. Old Boy is right behind it, though. Like I said, I love international cinema, but those are, I would say, my favorites. H-Man, The Boss of Five, all stories and equated are amazing. All right, so maybe you know what? I think that there's going to be a sale from Criterion pretty soon. Maybe I'll blind buy it. Actually, that's what I wanted to ask you, H-Man, The Boss of Five. I don't know if you're a physical media collector, but if you are, do you own the Criterion of Quaden? And if so, does it look great? Because I know it's a 2K transfer. So part of me is like, okay, maybe I'll hold off and I'll wait until there's a 4K transfer. But I want to hear your thoughts. H-Man, The Boss of Five, Samurai Rebellion is amazing too. Slow, intriguing, and just masterful. That's good. Yeah, it seems like it's a very intriguing story. So I am excited to check that out. Film Kit, I own the Criterion of Pan's Labyrinth, but still haven't seen it. Oh, you gotta check it out, man. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. I own the 4K, the regular one that Warner Brothers did. From what I understand, the Criterion is pretty darn good. So you kind of, had a right call. Me, I don't know. I wanted to get the 4K. I also own Nightmare Alley on 4K, The Shape of Water on 4K, Pinocchio. So I like Del Toro. I think he's a great director. Film Kid says, "What's your favorite and least favorite Tarantino?" So if you see my ranking list, which holy cow, at this point was from 7 years ago, I said Django Unchained, but at this point it would probably be Pulp Fiction is my favorite, and the least favorite would be I almost said Death Wish, Death Proof. Death Proof would be easily my least favorite of his. What about you? I'm curious. What's your least and favorite of his? Godzilla, Seven Samurai, Parasite, and Old Boy are my top three foreign films of all time. Honestly, great choices. I need to rewatch Seven Samurai. I've been putting off a rewatch for 11 years at this point, so I'm definitely overdue. Godzilla, Pan's Labyrinth would be number four. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I was very happy to see retroactively that Pan's Labyrinth did really well at the Oscars when it came out. And if they had 10 slots for Best Picture in 2006, it 100% would have been nominated. Film Kid, Django, and Death Proof. Bingo. We're on the same page. H-Man, The Boss 05. I don't have the Criterion, unfortunately. I'm from Sweden, and a lot of Criterions don't have a reach and beat release. Oh, that's a shame, man. Yeah. I thought Criterions weren't like locked. I thought that was one of the benefits of them that you didn't it didn't really matter like which region you were from. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that that's the case. Film Kid, that's so cool. And is Sweden as beautiful as it looks in some movies? Yeah, I'm very curious too. H Man, The Boss 05, because a lot of the Swedish films that I see, it does look quite gorgeous, almost like New Zealand. How New Zealand, when you watch Lord of the Rings, it's like, oh wow, that looks gorgeous. Also, Film Kid and everyone else in the chat, please do check out Synecdoche, New York, if you haven't done so already. Bootzilla, another great foreign film is City of God. That would round out my top five. That's a great choice. I own that on Blu-ray. I've been needing to rewatch that film, and especially now that I watched I'm still here. Should probably rewatch City of God. But yeah, well, I figured we'll wrap up the live stream in a little bit, guys. But I do want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. So next weekend, I'm not quite sure if I'm doing a live stream because next Saturday I am actually busy. And I'm not realistically probably not next Friday doing a live stream. So maybe next Sunday, maybe I'll do a live stream. I'm not 100% sure. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up about that. So meaning that if there is a live stream next week, it probably won't be with Marvin Sergey, unfortunately, because they both are usually busy on Sundays. So film kit chat. So I've seen There Will Be Blood, Punch Drunk Love, Phantom Thread, and Magnolia for PTA's films. Can you give me three that I should watch? Let's see. Oh, you haven't seen The Master. Gotta watch The Master. Let's see. Oh, you haven't seen Boogie Nights. So The Master, Boogie Nights, and I'm trying to think because I think you haven't seen his first film, which is off the top of my head. I forget the name of it, which is kind of terrible to say. Let's see. 1 second. Okay, so yeah, Boogie Nights, The Master. Watch both of those, and then for a third one, see, Hard Eight is solid. Hard Eight's solid. You know what? I'll say Hard Eight. I was gonna say Inherent Vice, but I don't love Inherent Vice. I might method view that film sometime soon, if you know what I'm saying. But I watched that film twice and just I wasn't vibing with it both times that I watched it. It's intentionally convoluted because it's from the perspective of a stoner and it's also a noir film, so it makes sense. But I don't know. I haven't loved the film. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 both times I watched it, which is very low for a PTA film because I love his films. Bootzilla Hard Eight. Yep, that's the one. Yeah. Yeah, Hard Eight nobody really talks about, but Hard Eight really is such an important film because it was, pretty much what gave PTA his start and what led to him to Boogie Nights and, of course, then Magnolia, which are two films that are phenomenal. But it really is incredible seeing PTA's filmography. Film kid, you told me this in the past, but isn't half of the sexual stuff in Boogie Nights implied or jokes? I mean, it's all about sex. It's about a porn star and the porn industry. But at the same time, it's a film that if you love filmmaking, I think you'll like it. The Master also has sexual stuff. I mean, a lot of PTA's films do. Um, I mean, it's tame compared to I'm sure some of the stuff that you've seen. But yeah, there is some sexual stuff. Film Kid Magnolia was good, but way too long. Oh, see, I don't mind the length. There are a couple scenes that I do think aren't as great as the rest of the film. Like the scene where the little kid is with John C. Riley and he's like pretending to rap. That scene, I know that there is some payoff to it later on in the film, but part of me thinks that scene could be cut out. But besides that, I think it's phenomenal. The fact that 3 hour runtime flies by, 3 hours and 8 minutes, pretty amazing stuff. But all right, guys, I am going to let you guys go, though. If you haven't done so already, though, be sure to follow me on Letterboxd. I will be sure to give you guys my review for Synecdoche, New York on there. Also, be sure to watch my review for I'm Still Here, which will be dropping in like 3-4 hours. So stay tuned for that. And I look forward to, again, potentially seeing you guys next week for, another live stream. But I really appreciate all the interaction you guys have done. And again, you guys are the best. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your Saturday.